Hi, I'm Catherine with the Old Country Porch, and today I'm going to show you how to make this do-it-yourself world map sign. I am in love with the way that this turned out, but I'm not 100% sure that I like the way that I ended up painting it. And I think that I've come up with a way to fix it, but I would love your opinion on whether I should leave it as it is or try to change the way that it's painted. So for this project, I'll be using these wooden fence panels. They are 4 feet long by 6 inches wide. And I will be cutting off the dog-eared tip on them, but I'm going to wait until I have the whole sign assembled before I do that. And I'm just giving these a light sanding just to get rid of any splinters. I don't want them to look too finished because I want a more rustic look. So I'm just running over all of these panels real fast with the sander. I'm using a couple pieces of scrap wood that I had to hold the whole sign together. I've had this stain in my garage for a few years and I thought this would be the color that I wanted to use, but when I tested it out, it ended up being a lot thicker and just not the right color. So this was the only other stain that I had, so I decided to mix them together. I was able to blend them to a shade that I was okay with, but the stain was so thick and so it ended up being way darker than I wanted it to be. And I didn't have anything to thin the stain with, so I just went with it and knew that I could try to fix it later. So after I stained them, I let them sit overnight, and then I thought maybe I could sand them and it would lighten them up a little bit. It did help lighten them up. It still didn't give me the look that I was going for, but I knew that I could fix that with paint later. So after I sanded everything, I went ahead and assembled the sign. Next, I took my circular saw and just cut off all of the dog ears. And then I went back and stained those edges too. So to get the wood to look how I wanted it to, because I didn't have the right color stain, I'm just mixing together some craft paint with some water. And I'm putting a thin layer on the wood just to give it the tone that I wanted. So to make the stencil for my world map, I'm going to be using my Cricut. So I found a free world map silhouette online and I pulled it into Photoshop and created a grid and then saved each individual section. And I did it this way so that I could have a little bit of overlapping on each panel. If you don't have Photoshop, you can also do this by pulling up the world map and using your snipping tool. It's going to be a little more difficult to get your sizes perfect, but this is a great alternative if you don't have access to Photoshop. So then I just uploaded each of the panels into Cricut. I selected simple, I took out all of the gray background, and then saved them as a cut image. Once I did that to all my panels, I pulled them all into my project. And while they were all still selected, I resized them to fit my mat. And then I just pulled them apart and changed the colors on each panel so that each one would print on its own mat. So instead of vinyl, I am using a cheap contact paper. And I'm doing that for two reasons. One, it's less expensive. And the second reason is because I don't want something that's too sticky. So with a cheaper contact paper, the adhesive isn't going to be as sticky as the good vinyl that you would normally use for Cricut. So I just unrolled it, stuck it to my mat, and then cut the pieces while they were on my mat. With this, you get a lot of ripples. And there's a really easy way to fix it. You just pull half of it back and then you can smooth out the ripples and then just do the same thing to the other side. Then I let my Cricut cut all my panels out. And then I just had to match the overlapping pieces up. Once I got all of the panels linked together and placed where I wanted to, then I was able to remove all of the backing and stick everything down. So for the painting, I had this idea that I would start with red where the equator was, and then I would go through the rainbow of temperature colors, and then it would show the temperature variations in the world. So that was my plan. And as much as I love the concept of that, I'm just not sure I like how it turned out. I don't know, the colors are too vibrant, too primary, so I'm just not sure if I want to keep it how it is or if I want to try to change it. So I'm thinking about maybe doing a mixed media where I go over all the paint with a watercolor and just kind of tone the colors down and have them blend more and have more variety in shades. But I've never done that before. I'm not sure if it'll work. I'm not sure if it'll look all right. So I would love your opinion on whether I should just leave it alone or take the chance to try to change it to make it better. The best part of this whole project was peeling off the stencil. The details on the map came out so clean. I was really happy with how detailed it ended up being. So to hang this, I'm just using some hanging wire and a couple of these screw eyes. And this will be perfect for supporting this size sign. I hope this project inspires you to tackle your own do-it-yourself project. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.